And if you're the dealer, set yourself up for getting to the demographic that wants to buy the car. You're better off. Be ready to show how that all is going to work.
Yeah.
And then, if you want to try to take a run at the switch, I will tell you, you're going to be able to make that case pretty easy. The amount of maintenance on that car, the amount of just sheer, gas savings. By the time you're done, you're talking $10,000 a year.
Yep.
It's not a little bit. It's not a small amount of money. Now the problem is with the question you'll always get is, well, can somebody who can afford a $100,000 car, does they really give a rat's ass about $10,000 a year? Probably not.
Probably not.
Welcome to the Old Guys No Shit podcast in Dealercast Studios, where we bring together decades of automotive knowledge all together in one place. Here's your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit.
Hey, what's going on, Dealercast Nation? I am Jason Harris.
And I'm Rob Mudd.
And I'm Larry Bruce.
And this is the Old Guys That Know Shit.
Yes.
Podcast.
Yeah. We're gonna get that in unison, kind of like.
Right. I've been practicing. I've been trying.
Like the Three Stooges
Together.
Yeah. No, it's the Three Stooges. Hello.
You're old guys when you guys are like, we're referencing the Three Stooges. We know what you mean.
Wise guy. Huh?
I guess that could be the test.
That's
the test on whether or not you're an old guy.
That might be the test right there.
All right, now, if you know any of those jokes, yep, 100%. Well, hey guys, it's great to be back. Always a fun time in the studio with you guys.
Indeed.
Like literally always a fun time in the studio. And I love today's topic because I think we have all three of us have got a lot of different kind of thoughts and opinions on this, So, we got everything from, someone who owns an EV, someone who doesn't like EVs, and someone who doesn't even drive a car. So
the most opinionated one, he doesn't even have a car.
He doesn't even own one. All right, here's our topic today. EV sales are stalling. All right, what's next for dealers? I'll just leave it there. I'll open it up. What are you guys thinking?
I'll go real quick. It doesn't surprise me. We kind of saw this coming.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the last
and
shows.
It's a niche product. It's Elon's novelty car. There's always going to be a small percentage that buy it, but it's not going to be everybody. And that's all I got to say.
Well, I think I said, I don't remember which podcast it was, but it might have been the very first one we talked about EVs. It's like, you need to, if you're a used EV guy, you need to not have EVs when Trump gets in office, because that tax credit is going away.
And it's gone.
Yeah, that credit was going to go. I mean, it was going to be like within an hour of Trump getting sworn in. It was done, and when it was done, whatever EV you had was worth $10,000 to $15,000 less.
Well, look, it's funny because me and you have talked about this before. I don't think that, people just bought EVs because of this credit.
I don't think so either.
I love my EV, all right? I love the performance of my EV. I love the handling of my EV. I love the technology inside my EV. I mean, the fact that I'm driving a full-size SUV that can smoke a Corvette right now with the whole family inside of it is fundamentally awesome.
But you also have a gas burner, right?
I do have a gas burner.
Okay, there you go.
So I love driving EVs because the sheer torque vector of these things will just suck you into your seat like you're taking off. Like, I have a friend that owns a Plaid Tesla. That's stupid. That is the most insane machine I think ever produced. I mean, you're doing 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds. It's absolutely insane and impressive that it was ever built.
Oh yeah, I mean, from a performance standpoint, I wouldn't disagree. I mean, I personally, I think I said this a long time ago, and somebody got mad at me for even saying it once. But if I buy a $200,000 sports car, it better not sound like a golf cart.
I was just going to say, I like driving golf cars, right? But you're right. I mean, when
I push that button, I better hear. I'm going to hear some stuff.
Well,
I don't want to step into it, but I get the performance side.
Let's go hypercar examples, right?
Right,
For example,
right.
because we've seen manufacturers come out with hypercars from a technology perspective that will outperform some of the most, like let's say like the Nissan GT, like the GTR, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a car that costs a quarter of what most supercars out there, but it will outperform almost every supercar out there, and it's in a classification where it was built that way. So I think there's something about just engineering that can just be admired both on, and it doesn't have to be necessarily like I admire EVs because of the engineering aspect of it. Same thing like the fact that Nissan was able to produce a car that literally outbeats almost every Ferrari ever built is phenomenal, and it only costs $80 for an oil change.
The only problem I have with EVs, literally, is the way that they try to sell it to America by mandating it, right?
Yes, I agree.
That
it was bad practice.
Yeah, anytime you do that, you're automatically raising the flag to say, hey, you're going to have people that will have a problem with this.
Yeah.
And I absolutely have. Anytime you have to subsidize a guy's business so he can be in business, I don't think it's the way. That's not the free market, right?
No.
And Musk, it's gone. Let the market do what the market does.
But to Musk's credit, he was the first one to say it should be gone.
No, I know. I'm not taking a shot at it
Yeah.
at all, right?
Because
none of his car.
the people that were buying EVs because of this rebate, that is not the type of owner that he
Right.
wanted. So he was fine with it.
Yeah,
he didn't care.
He just said all subsidies, take them all out.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that. But like I said, I think the guys I was most concerned about was the used car guys, because the used car market, or the secondary market for EVs, was being propped up by that credit.
Yeah.
And when that credit went away, if you were holding the bag on any of those EVs, you were stuck out.
I don't think necessarily the credit is what propping up the used EV side of the business. It was actually just their monster depreciation that was propping up the used car side of the business. It's like I can go get a used Model 3, for $25,000 and go compare that to a used Honda Civic for $25,000. Take the Model 3 any day of the week. It probably has a fraction of the mileage on it, and better technology.
Well, I think we just see right what you've already seen is that the EVs have stalled, the sales have stalled, and you can't say, well, it wasn't the credit that was selling EVs, but was it?
Well,
I think everybody that wants one's got one.
Well, here's actually the funny thing.
That could be it. We sold the market out, right?
They're seeing tons and tons of report how it's stalled.
Yeah.
The ironic part is that when you actually look at registered vehicles, there's no stall. We're continuing to register more EV vehicles month after month after month.
Do they consider a hybrid EV, or is it its own segment?
It's its own segment. Okay. So the registration of these vehicles actually haven't dropped. What it was is we put so much inventory into the market at a singular time that, I gotta be honest, if you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you can go lease the Kia EV9, which is a full-size SUV.
For a 12-month lease, for like
24 months for like $400 a month. Count me in.
Yeah, I don't have, that's, the free market, or the market as it is to compete will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. It's the fact of who shoved it down our throat, people that had no understanding of the car business, and they had a different motivation to do it. And if they wouldn't have done what they'd done, I don't think Tesla still would have done Tesla. But, he was on the brink of disaster other than he was selling carbon credits on the carbon market.
Yeah.
That's it. That's safe. That was how he made money.
Sure.
And so that is a false deal, too. That's a bullshit deal, the carbon market.
Yeah.
But, that's what he did.
Is this not any different than when we sold diesel vehicles? There was only a certain percentage of people that were going to buy them.
Yeah, but the diesel, that was a different deal. The diesel people were buying it because... Well,
fuel at the time it was fuel efficiency.
Well,
remember?
fuel efficient. There was some fuel efficiency
and low end torque. You had all this additional power that your ICE engine didn't have and stuff.
The BMW X5 diesel is a fantastic,
phenomenal.
fantastic
bulletproof.
Absolutely, and that's just it. I mean, the it's not just the fuel efficiency is there, but the real thing is that engine just goes.
Sure,
it's solid. And I don't know that anybody buying EVs now. I think there's still this whole range derangement or range anxiety. There's certainly that. I think the bigger thing for me would always be if I'm low on gas, I pull in 2 minutes, I'm in, I'm out.
Oh, it's not convenient. 100%. There's nothing convenient about having to charge your vehicle and keep it charged and stuff like that.
And so until you can pull up to an electric pump, plug it in, and be done in 2 minutes, it's just we're just conditioned to this.
Well, I think it's. I mean, I don't. It's very rare to find somebody where EV is their primary vehicle. I think it's probably one of the best secondary vehicles. It's the get around town. I'm not going to take my EV on a long road trip, and not a chance in hell.
Right. It's my golf cart.
Right.
Yeah.
The way that the market and the media made it sound, hey, you're not going to have a choice. We're going this direction.
Yeah, no, that I think causes a problem.
That's not America, man. I mean,
somewhere
else.
Yeah, that part of it. That I never really looked at that. I mean, not just from my standpoint. That's what they did, though. Yeah, but you got to know if you've been around America for a while, we'll do stuff. You'll tell us to do it. We'll go do the opposite just to show you we can.
Right.
Right. So you don't get to tell me what to do. That's just that's not America.
No, and that's a dictatorship, authoritarian, and that's what Obama was. He was that. I know I keep going back there.
Yeah.
I just want to remind people of how bad it was.
So how can how can dealers make EVs more appealing to customers?
They can't, because the dealers to retail, the manufacturers to brand, right? And if they can't get it done, the dealer ain't going to get it done unless he gives them away, which some guys do.
Yeah, I don't know that the dealers can do anything. I think get rid of it at whatever number you can get rid of it at. Get it off your lot.
Well, look, I remember at one point, your example of the X5 diesel, there was the exact same thing. Like there were thousands of them sitting on dealers' lots across the country, and we couldn't move these things because remember it was right during that time where the diesel problems were with Volkswagen and all this lying and stuff like that. And you could have a diesel in your lot and you couldn't move the bloody thing because nobody wanted to touch them for whatever reason.
Well, they're cheating too.
They put a big rebate
that's what they
on
ended up. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Is we just incentive our
that
way out of the
dealer.
inventory.
That's the manufacturer. Again, that's back to the manufacturer is going to have.
Well, it still required. I do remember having to educate sales teams on just being able to actually hold these conversations, right? Because people didn't want to touch them because of all of the commotion that was going on with Volkswagen and Audi and stuff like that, and all the fake crap they were doing with them.
If it was such a hot car, if it was such a great idea, dealers would be ordering them.
Sure.
They're not. They get given to them, right, and say sell them. They're not ordering these.
No, well, I mean, then not anymore. I mean, certainly
They
not
were.
anymore. They were. I mean,
Yeah.
they were doing it because manufacturers tell them the car. They had all these credits. They were. This whole thing was propped up completely artificially.
100%.
And where you are today is because of where you are. I mean, we said it back in January. Get rid of this crap. December, whenever it was. I mean, it was low. I mean,
it was right. You did.
Get rid of those. Get rid of those cars. Just get them off your lot. Whatever it takes, get them gone.
Is this not a scenario like? I mean, it's not like we haven't had troubled vehicles on our lot before. Like this is not necessarily.
I don't think
new
this
thing.
is that.
But not a $90,000 troubled vehicle.
Well,
The Aztec was $26,000.
Hey, I fucking love that. All right, the Aztec was a badass.
Yeah. Astro
It's like
vans-
Homer Simpson built that thing. Like it was the best thing ever.
Astro vans were around $20,000. I mean, come on, Geo Prisms. We could get rid of those for $15,000.
But isn't this kind of the old saying of like, hey, there's an ass for every seat. We just have to find it.
That's a different ass though. I mean, you still got to. So you take the bad, because that's the bad credit car, right? Mm-hmm. It's the one that's got $10,000 worth of rebate. I can go uncover somebody's.
That's the car you can't
equity.
sell. Remember?
Yeah, they uncover somebody's negative equity. Whatever, I'm gonna go shove them in this car. That's harder to do with an EV because, again, I got to charge it. So, the customers, it's not like I'm just trying to sell you on a different color. I'm trying to sell you on a different way of life.
We should have this conversation in 3 months, right?
Yeah, we'll
And
see.
see what happens.
Yeah.
But now it's a fair playing field. I don't give a shit. If you want to buy an EV, enjoy it, right?
Right.
But it's not being subsidized by the government because they want to get rid of ICE burning cars. I mean, that to me is what throws the whole thing off. Is that you're trying to mandate shit.
You're trying to make something happen.
That doesn't. No one wants it.
Nobody that people don't want.
The majority of car buyers don't want it.
Yeah,
and there are them that do. They should be able to buy one, right?
Well, the thing they never answered was, okay, what happens if let's say 50% of the people in the country get an EV? What's that do to the electrical grid?
It can't support
damn things lit up like a Christmas, put together like a Christmas tree anyway right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It depends who you ask, because there seems to be equally as many PhDs out there saying our system can't support it, and equally as many PhDs out there that saying our system can't support it. So
well, look at Dallas.
It's actually hard to say.
Well, I can tell you, during Snowmageddon, nobody wanted to hear about how EVs were going to, or how you were going to charge your freaking EV.
Now, when I picked you guys up at the airport or the hotel this morning, there was a
Yeah.
Cadillac plugged in to the charging station over there at the hotel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let's see if that car is still there, because it's a blizzard outside, folks.
Yeah. See how that battery's running now.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think time will tell, and it will take care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, but the other thing that I could never understand is there's a lot of there's a lot of patents on drivetrains with each of the manufacturers.
Sure.
Right, and there's a lot of moving parts in those drivetrains.
23,000,
Yeah.
32,000.
Yeah, I mean, so when you look at that, and you're ready just to throw that completely out the window.
It's insane.
And then put a battery in that nobody's patented and can't. Then all of a sudden, that's what made all these other Lucid and all these other car companies. When all of a sudden the drivetrain is a battery, you got a whole lot of car companies. That's going to create a weird thing. It's already creating a weird thing, right?
I think there's 1,800 moving parts in an electric vehicle.
Something like that. Yep.
There's 32,000 in a ICE car.
Right.
Does anybody ever think, okay, what happens to those people that made the other 30,000 parts that they don't need any longer? What are they? I mean, I told this to a politician. You know what he said? This is how stupid this guy was. He said, well, when they invented cars, the horse buggy and whip, they went out of business too.
No, I actually said that some of them transitioned over to what the car manufacturers today. Ford did.
Well, right. I mean, but it's an asinine comparison, right?
Stupid.
Because it's just as stupid. And he was a Democrat, and so that's what he did.
He was a Democrat. Well, look, guys, it could have been EVs. It could have been hydrogen. It could have been
hydrogen.
No, well, I would not count out hydrogen right now.
There are
the Chinese are big on hydrogen.
What I think we're seeing right now is an industry, and I admire it, where we are trying a new form of powering vehicles. And is it going to be a combination of EV and hydrogen? 100% it could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Right?
Well, hydrogen is just a form of electricity. It's just a different form of electricity.
It's really how you store the energy.
Yeah.
It's how you're storing the energy, and that's why I think we're going to see more. I mean, hybrids make a lot of sense. This combination of being able to go back and forth, getting the benefit of the torque factor out of electric motors, but being able to supply it with a smaller ICE engine so that you're not having to plug in. I think this. I just admire the fact that we're even testing. I still think there is. I don't think the verdict's out as far as what is the new method of.
So I wouldn't count. Like I said, Toyota's deep into hydrogen, and last time I checked, they're pretty damn smart.
Yeah.
So I would think that I'd place my bets on hydrogen, and hydrogen is one of those things you can pull into the gas station and be in and out in 2 minutes.
For sure.
And there's hydrogen's everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. So
in 2014, when I was in China and I found out how they made coal, my partner told me, he said, but the Chinese believe in hydrogen. This is all bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. Because they don't have any natural resources. They have no way of making energy, the Chinese, right? So why the hell would they do what they did to move us the wrong direction? Who moved my cheese? Right?
That's a great book.
It's true. I mean, if those subsidies stay off the electric car, I don't see it going anywhere because there's too many producers right now. There are too many manufacturers for electric cars in the United States than there are buyers.
Well, okay, so let's for the dealers out there watching and listening right now, guys, this is where, like, hey, look, they're there. All right, there's the Hummers are sitting on the lot. Yeah. All right, the Rivians are sitting on the. Well, I'm thinking I want to keep it more to our franchise guys out there. So Hyundai's, the Leaf, the Kias are sitting with them, right? So their car is sitting out there. What advice would you give these dealers to say, hey, they are there. We do have to move them. Let's say from a marketing perspective and then more from an operations perspective or sales perspective, how would you guys kind of approach helping dealers move these vehicles? Because it's not like we can not do it. We do have to do it.
They've got to target that demographic, that personality type that would entertain an electric vehicle, and then it's got to be right number. And same as retail and anything else, you got to know. Got to have the right audience, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. Find the audience, and hopefully you have one. And then talk to them and tell them you have it, and come on down and buy one today.
And if there is an audience, we got to create one.
Right.
We have to do that through education.
Well, and that's the OEMs. That's what they're here to do.
They've got to you would expect them to do that, but they're not.
Mm-hmm. Then I don't know. It takes a lot of money to educate someone on a brand new process, right?
Sure.
Such as a car. They'll sit a long time. If the dealer's responsible for making the audience or creating it, that's another shitty thing the OEM did to the car dealer.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's targeting the right people. There's still a certain number of people that are still buying. We're still registering. You got to get more than your fair share. Yes. So you're gonna need to get out there with the right offer to the right customer.
Cool. And beat them over the head with it.
Right,
and then frequency, right?
Yeah, yes. Reach and frequency. That just never changes.
Never.
But then you've got to get back to, okay, I got to have my sales staff has to be ready to overcome the objections. First of all, first and foremost, let's get how we're going to overcome range anxiety. Mm-hmm. How are we going to do that? First thing I would have is a map of the entire city. Here's where all the chargers are.
Sure.
So that there are chargers right where you are. Secondly, I have every one of my EVs comes with a home charger. Mm-hmm. Everyone. Okay, so you're getting a home charger no matter what. Yep. That way I'm not going to forget to charge it before I go home. When I get there, I plug it in. We're ready to go. And it's always full. And if it's always full, you only have to worry about the times you're not at home or you're not close to a charger. That's and every time that happens, you're just worrying about the times when you got a half a tank and you don't have time to go fill up. I mean, I've had that happen. Yeah. I mean, quarter tank, I forgot to go fill up. And now what do I do? And now you just have to manage that one scenario.
And that's to me,
I would do the same thing. I just want to add one thing to that. I would do a total cost of ownership. So really kind of break down, look at it, what if there's savings in fuel, savings versus in service.
There's tons of savings. There's going to be.
So it's like you really got to build that kind of, I think, that business case of just look, Yeah.
At that point, I think the customers. What I'm thinking. I'm thinking you're not kind of what you're talking about is more of a switch, right? Yep. Where you're on an ICE vehicle, and I'm going to maybe try to make a switch.
Well, at least introduce it.
Or at least introduce it, right? Yep. And that, I don't know. Well,
if you don't I think there's a lot of dealers that have to do that right now because there's too much inventory sitting on that lot.
Yeah, I mean, how do you? Yeah, I would think that you would be better off trying to find somebody who would want one.
No one needs an electric vehicle. No. People have to want one.
They have to want one.
One buyer versus a need buyer are different.
And diesel engines were the same thing. No one really needs a diesel.
No. Yeah, but you didn't have to change your life. Every gas station had
diesel.
That's true.
Yeah, you didn't have to change, and it wasn't wasn't a big departure from where you're at.
No.
So I have a friend that has a Tesla. He lives out in California, and he drives back to Cedar Falls on occasion, a couple times a year. But he's got to plan out his route, right, to make sure.
Oh, he takes the thing the whole way here.
He did the
Jeez
whole
almighty.
thing. And so but the last time he says, I'm not doing that again because for reasons. But convenience means less brain storage, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get rid of things I have to think about. I don't want to take on new things that I wouldn't have to worry about if I had an ICE car, a gas car. So I'm not going to buy one.
Right.
I'll buy a golf cart.
Yeah.
And I'll plug that in. And
yeah, I think you've got guys out there right now that are trying to make a business out of putting these chargers out in front of the hotel, putting these chargers in places, and I think now you can even tell your Tesla go to the nearest charging station. Yep. But it still can't plug in. It still can't plug itself in.
This electric car concept has been built on a false premise. The false premise was that we're going to ruin our environment
if we don't do it.
Well, that was the initial push. Yes.
Well, that's what's okay. That and then gas
I don't see that too often anymore in the market.
No, I know you don't. That? You don't because it does. They're already in, right? They got you.
Yeah, the first lie got you there. The first lie got you there.
Yeah, that's the problem with all this stuff is it's based off someone else's lie. Like last night, those 50% that never did anything. Those people are telling me that I need to buy an electric car. Mm-hmm. I have nothing in common with any of those people whatsoever. Based off their behavior, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I will say that if you're a manufacturer and you really want to push an electric car, put cooler technology in the electric car than in the ICE car. Because most of your younger generation are buying for the cool technology. I will be honest with you. I've been in some of these cars and some of these with the cool dashboards. I'm like,
they're cool.
It is pretty cool.
I might buy a car just for that.
And do it
pretty
right.
Badass.
Absolutely, do it because it's a cool thing because you want it.
Right, and then connect it up to your home. Have it automatically turn the lights on, open the garage when you get close. Have it do stuff for you. Yeah. That if you get, those are the types of things that will move this kind of along. Now, of course, you're gonna have the people go, well, why can't you do that with a ICE vehicle? Well, you can. So it can't just be the electric car. Can't just be the one because just like every car deal in the history of car deals. There'll be this agreement. We're only going to do this. We're only going to put this in. Everybody agrees, and then somebody goes off and does it in the ICE vehicle, and then everybody's got to put the electronics in the ICE vehicle. So I think that it's more on the manufacturers than it is on the dealers to get rid of these things. The dealers have them, and the manufacturers probably do not care as much because they're already in their floor plan. They've already been paid. Getting them off their lots is not as important to them as it is to the dealer. And if you're the dealer, set yourself up for getting to the demographic that wants to buy the car. You're better off. Be ready to show how that all is going to work.
Yeah.
And then if you want to try to take a run at the switch, I will tell you, you're going to be able to make that case pretty easy. The amount of maintenance on that car, the amount of just sheer gas savings. By the time you're done, you're talking $10,000 a year.
Yep.
It's not a little bit. It's not a small amount of money. Now the problem is with the question you'll always get is, well, can somebody who can afford $100,000 car, does they really give a rat's ass about $10,000 a year? Probably not.
Probably not.
But then if I'm looking,
but then there's the technology and the cool factor.
Well, no, right? I'm looking at one.
I have a neighbor who has one of those EV Hummers.
It's cool,
dude.
It's cool.
It drives sideways. It's cool.
That is I'm never going to use that, but it is
cool as
so
shit.
Freaking cool.
It's cool.
Right?
The manufacturers got away from building passenger cars.
Yes.
They would give it to the Koreans. So now they're coming out and they're going to sell us electric cars.
Well, the electric cars, there's an element of fun and coolness to them. Like mine, my Rivian. I have 4 electric motors. This is like the most awesome off-road machine ever. The fact that all 4 of these tires can completely do individually their own thing at their own given moment makes it for a cool thing, right? I was out camping with a buddy, and we were at he has one of those big luxury trailers. God, have you been in these trailers
awesome.
these days? Holy crap! Like,
Oh, yeah.
they're practically like little
a house.
condos,
Yeah.
like little condos, right? Blew my mind. So we're there. The trailer park, or the place that he has it parked, lost power because of some storm. I'm like, oh, wait a second.
Generator.
I plugged the bloody thing in, and we ran that RV completely on my car for 2 days straight. AC, the whole shebang. And
That's cool.
And still had enough that we could drive into town eventually and get
Get recharged.
That's
cool.
Yeah, I mean, there is a
Yeah.
cool factor. There is a tech factor.
Right.
And I think just as dealers, if you're out there watching, listening, you need to dive into these stories. There's
There's
a
no doubt.
cool-
You have to
there's a cool
tell the
factor here.
story for the person that wants to hear that story.
Yeah.
And there is a percentage of people that want that.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for the but from the taking it from the affordability side, if you've got a $30,000 EV, now you can make a real case, and especially you can make a really good case for a lease, low payment, no gas, no maintenance. Now we're talking. Now you're talking realistically. If I equate that out to your payment in your ICE vehicle, I can take your payment in your ICE vehicle is going to run $800 a month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your payment on your EV lease is going to run $300 a month. Okay, your gas bill on your
Exactly.
ICE vehicle is going to run you another $400 a month. Your EV, $0. That should be a side-by-side comparison.
100%.
And then you take that. Now that's a switch. Now that's where you could possibly make the switch,
Right.
And say, okay, look, I know you're hitting on an affordability factor here. This is literally less than half what this ICE vehicle is going to cost you.
So I'm saying, like, the Kia EV9 right now, the way that they're getting it's a 24-month lease with like almost nothing down for $399 a
Right.
month.
Sell the hell out
Like,
of 'em.
I mean, I would be selling the shit ton of these things.
Right, and then
So
lower
because-
lower your credit quality, lower your
They
credit
did.
qualification.
They
for
did.
that.
You don't have to be a 720
Yeah,
or 730.
you need to be down in the
you can be in the
sixes and the fives.
You can be the sixes
High
to qualify
fives.
for this. I don't know if they went that deep, but I do know
I mean,
that they.
but the high five guys,
Yeah.
you get a high five person who has who's been around for a while, has a
True.
good stable job. The only reason they're not making their payments is because they bit off last time more than they could chew. Put them in something they can chew. Keep your payment to income down around 20-25%. Keep it right, and you'll be fine.
You guys are familiar with the BYD, right?
Yep.
Those guys are making.
Make some cool shit too.
They're making
Making cars that
electric
hop.
for like $9,000.
I know.
And when you get the testimonial of the drivers, I've seen stuff says those are the best electric cars made for 9Gs, right?
They're driving them through lakes and crap.
Well, we're not making them for that amount here.
No.
And so, do you want to let the Chinese in with their electric cars? I don't. I don't think you should let anything electric.
Well, Trump
from
probably put
China
a
into the United States.
300% tariff on that one.
That's good.
Yeah,
but they still want to get in here.
Yeah.
Because they've never been able to get in with an ICE because they could never match the emissions. They could never do it. Cherry, remember Cherry?
Yeah.
One of the guys who have sold those franchises?
Right.
Oh gosh, Cherry. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably some of the best. I think those are some of the best.
So here's a
ways
question
we can
for
get-
you.
What's that?
Why do you think that Farley went and incorporated the Ford Lightning as its own standalone LLC? So he could unravel it.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
I didn't even know he did that. That's pretty
Yeah.
smart.
Yep.
Farley's
Most
not a
people don't.
knucklehead.
But when I saw that, I'm like, okay, this means he knows this thing's going to fall apart, right? Now, when you look at
There
General
was
Motors,
a good chance it was going to fall apart,
Yeah,
right?
right?
Yeah.
And then when you look at General Motors, look what they did to Cadillac. They, for damn sure, were going to be a full-fledged, all-electric by 2025. That's now, right?
Yeah.
Let's rewind that, baby.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
Well, I mean, I will say that that General Motors, that the idea that the battery and the chassis is the same for every vehicle, there's something to that.
Makes sense.
It makes total sense.
It's
Yeah, I think we're finding more
Southwest Airlines.
efficiencies.
Everybody drives a
Yeah.
737.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's just a matter of what. But I mean, if you could take that one step further and change out the body when you needed it, truck
Well, you know
truck
what?
when you in your car, that would be
talking
that would
about
be
that at
that
one
would
That's
be
what they're
yeah
talking about. Those unibodies
Those
are made
unibodies.
to go a million miles.
yeah.
I know.
And they were going to, and they still probably are going to make the insides interchangeable, so you can content your own inside.
Right.
Bring in new shit.
Yeah.
put it in.
Yeah. You ever watch that or do you ever see the movie? It had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and
Terminator.
no, not Terminator.
Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, no, it had. They took like a. They anyway. I can't remember. I'll think of the name.
Total Recall.
Wasn't Total Recall. That's the one I'm thinking of, but that wasn't it. But basically, what it was that they had these kind of blank bodies, and they would just take a recording of you
And just moved into the next.
and just moved it into the next one. And I wrote a deal for Bob on that same thing. Is what would happen if a manufacturer had a central location of just blanks?
Yep.
And the dealer didn't have to have the inventory. You just ordered it, but 2 days later it showed up.
And we could have, and they were heading that direction, and I think
Yeah.
they still could be. I think this is. I'm still fascinated to see what will happen. We're still seeing more registrations happen out there. But if you're a dealer out there and you do have the inventory, if you can hear what we've been talking about, like you need to get smart with your marketing. You need to get smart with your team and the training.
Yeah, have the documentation. Have a sales plan. Have a playbook.
Yes,
have a playbook.
Yes. Have a playbook. Hey, guys, I know we're towards the tail end of our time. I could easily talk about this topic for a lot longer with you guys. But
I'm glad you own an electric car. I mean that. I mean,
great.
if you want one, get one. Right?
they are so much fun, guys.
Fantastic.
They are so much fun.
But don't have the government mandate it, and don't have them
I agree.
subsidize it.
I agree.
Really.
I think one of these episodes,
that's Rob Mudd for
That's
Congress.
right. I mean it too.
I think with these episodes, I'm going to get both these guys in it, and we're actually going to go drive around and see if I can maybe change
Rob
their
Mudd
minds or
for
something.
Congress.
Hey, I want a new electric golf cart. That I do. And I guess it could look like anything as long as it's electric.
For $399 a
You
month, you might
could
as well
have
get
one, a big one.
Get a big one.
Probably weighs too much.
Yeah, they won't let you drive it on the course. For everybody out there watching, listening, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hey, one of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is to share the show. It means so much to us when you guys do that and helps get the word out there. So if you have a colleague or a manager or another employee that needs to listen to some part of the show, share it. It means a lot to us.
And feel free to suggest an episode of what you'd like
Yeah,
to
what
talk about.
would you like for the old guys to talk about?
That no shit.
No shit.
So they think.
Yeah.
Hey, for everybody out there watching and listening, thank you so much for your
Take
time.
care, guys.
We appreciate you. See you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Old Guys Know Shit podcast with your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.